Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Magical Day Radio, the happiest show on the air. Here are your hosts, Don Short and Chris Lyndon.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Magical Day Radio. This is Dawn, and I'm here with my brand new co-host and friend, good friend, Chris Lyndon. Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, Dawn?
I'm good. I'm excited, too, because, we just had you on the show as a guest, and now to have you as a co-host, I couldn't be more thrilled.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to join the team.
Yeah, it's already begun the new stages, and it's just been one thing after another that's been, basically magical. you
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it really has. And I just, even more so now than before, I'm looking forward to what the future holds for us.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fantastic guests lined up and a lot of wonderful things to share with our audience. And speaking of sharing with our audience, we have a lot of stuff to share about you and me today, right?
Absolutely. We agreed that it would be a good idea to do get to know your host, and we
Yeah.
put together some stuff, and it's all Disney related, and we thought that it would be fun not just for us, but for you guys to listen into and get to know us better as far as our Disney likes and all that. So,
Yeah. I wrote down 5 questions, and Dawn
mhm.
wrote down 5 questions, Disney-related questions about ourselves. And we'll answer them and talk about them and share our ideas with you all. But Dawn, first of all, before we ask our questions, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
What made you a Disney fan? When did you start being a Disney fan, and what made you become a Disney fan?
Oh, that's a really good question. It goes back to probably before I even really remember. My parents, I was born in California, and although we lived other places, we always wound up back there. And as a result, I grew up mostly there. So I'm a Southern California girl. Um, they would take us there as often as possible, even if it was during the times when families go through ups and downs, what are down times financially. We didn't know back then. We just have the opportunity, and we're blessed with the parents that just made things extra special. So they would take us, if we couldn't go to the park, they would take us to the hotel. And back then, you could park in the Disneyland Hotel parking lot, and the tram would pull up right in front of the area where, to the right if you were facing it, and then to the left was the Monorail Cafe, and then the shopping centers towards the middle there. And so we would ride the tram over to the park a couple times, or just go full circle, or get off, and you could hear the train. And they had the little, they still have the little shops that are outside, and we could get something there with our allowance and just kind of walk around the front. And we loved that. And then we would go back and go through all the shops, and we would eat there and just spend the day. And it was just so amazing to do. And um, when we did go, it was absolutely amazing as well. We would have our favorite rides, but we had the ticket books. So as we got older, what we would do was, towards like just after dinner, we would have dinner, and then our parents would go to what used to be Carnation Gardens. And my dad would often know, because did a lot of PR work back in the day. He would often know some of the people performing there. We got to meet a couple of them, and it was really really extra special for us. Count Basie was one of them. Um,
Mm.
but they would sit and listen to that because we love that, and I have that memory also, which is extra special. So we would get our parents' leftover tickets, And so my sister and I would go on the rides and have fun and come back and check in every once in a while and then go back again. And that's how our day was. And it's just those treasured memories with them. It's also as an adult now, I've since lost both of them. It's one place in the world where I can go and I can retrace their steps and those memories with them. And it's a really emotional thing for me, but it's really, really in addition to all the happiness that you feel when you're at Disneyland, it's that much more for me.
Because it has a special memory about your childhood and your
Uh-huh.
parents and
It really does.
special
There's
times.
Yeah, there's these little spots that I have that just really get me choked up, like the back of when you're leaving Pirates of the Caribbean. I know that area because before they had the different handicapped capabilities for people or disability, he would be told to go ahead and go towards the exit, and so he would go with his power chair back there, and that's where we got on and off.
Mhm,
And so that just leaving Pirates, that
mhm.
little area, last time we were there, and
With the little trestles
yeah,
and the
that
flowers growing around the
oh,
trestles and everything.
yeah,
Yes.
that spot, as we were walking out, my husband and I stopped and took a picture of the exit on the way out after you got through the exit turnstiles, and,
Mm.
that moment was really, really
Emotional.
exactly, yeah, yeah, just grabs my heart, and then, of course, there's the moments you go through the castle and, oh boy, I feel for anybody that's with me because if "When You Wish Upon a Star" plays, I just tear up.
You
So
know, that song's been playing there in the castle as you walk through the castle since opening day. Did you know that?
really,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
been a tradition since day one. In fact, when you watch the opening day telecast, you can hear it playing. You can, as Walt
Mm,
Disney's announcing,
that's right.
um, actually, as he's announcing Frontierland, it's so loud coming from the castle. You can hear it playing in the background as he's describing Frontierland on live TV because it's played as you would walk through the castle. So that's been there a long time. How about you talked about your connection to the parks? Do you have a connection to the movies and the animation and the characters? Is for you, is it more of the parks that you're a fan of, or is it more of the movies, or is it a combination of both, or is it 25/75?
I would say as far as the characters and the park, that's a majority of it. Now, the movies have become even more because I'm a grandma,
Mhm.
and so I was watching both of my granddaughters full time for quite a while there. So I have the privilege as a grandma to watch some of these with them for the first time.
Mhm.
And so the movies started to be just as important.
Yeah.
As anything else because now I get to pass along this love to my granddaughters, which is really neat.
So did you not have an emotional connection to the movies growing up?
The older ones, yeah, and especially the was the Wonderful World of Disney
Mhm.
when that would come on. Yeah, because families don't do this much anymore that I'm aware of. We would all go, okay, this is the night this on, and everybody would sit together. We didn't have the electronics and all that back then. This is what we did as a family. We did so
You
much
couldn't rent
together.
a video at any
No,
time you wanted. The only time you
right.
could see Disney was when it was broadcasted on TV, and it was really only the only time you could see it was Sunday night at 7 o'clock once a week. That's when you had to get your Disney fix. There was no other time that they showed Disney on TV, and you could go to the movies and see Disney,
Yep.
and they would re-release the classic films in the theaters because they didn't have video or DVDs. I mean, we're spoiled now where we can just watch whatever movie we want whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
So I took a real close connection to the record albums because of that, because
Yep.
that was one of the only tangible ways you could have a piece of Disney that you could play whenever you felt in a Disney mood. Was you could play the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs,
Mhm.
on a record, and relive and use your imagination and picture it in your mind and listen to the songs.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of got into records, is because they didn't have VHS back when I was a little
No.
kid.
Wow, my sister and I used to spend hours with the Disney records.
Yeah.
Just hours. It was just amazing. To this day, we bring up just little bits and pieces, like, if you just say "tra la la," we both laugh because we know exactly where that comes from and what movie, and the moment that what we might have been doing back when we were younger when that part came on.
Was it from
And then
Bambi?
yes, and every time it
Let's
was
sing a gay little spring song.
yes, yes, and we would have that song come on the record, we go, "Okay, it's coming." One of us would let the other one know if we forgot, and we just stop what we were doing, and we would listen to that.
Yeah.
So and then that was just one of those things that we have as sisters, these special connections that you get as a family that's irreplaceable.
Yeah. Are you ready to start our questions?
Absolutely.
All right, so I came up with 5 questions, and Dawn came up with 5 questions. So we'll just go through them. You want to ask the
Good.
questions and then we'll both answer them?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Okay.
Let's see. The first question, what is your favorite Disney animated movie?
My favorite is Pinocchio.
Oh,
I think it's just one of the most beautifully animated. It's amazing all the just how technically perfect it is, and it was all
mhm.
done by hand. No computers. I've seen documentaries about different ways that they did the animation for Pinocchio, and it never fails to astound me. Like how they
Yeah.
animated the cage that they put Pinocchio in when the
Right.
Stromboli's wagon is moving,
Mhm.
to make it look like the cage is rocking back and forth and Pinocchio's inside the cage. I mean, that's pretty amazing how realistic that looks. Um, I love the characters. I love, of course, Jiminy Crickets, which is,
Yeah. Oh, he's a favorite.
well, that's kind of why I named my other podcast Jiminy Crickets, because he's a favorite. Um, I love the music from Pinocchio. And of course, probably the most famous Disney song of all time comes from Pinocchio, When You Wish Upon a Star.
Mm.
And I just love the message of Pinocchio. Prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish, and someday you will be a real boy. It's all about finding the path to righteousness. But I just think it has a positive message. It has a warm, loving characters. It's just a beautiful film. I love the background imagery, the details of Geppetto's workshop and just all the beautiful scenery. Monstro the whale, the way he's animated is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just an incredible film. The way the voices of the characters when they're underwater warbles.
Oh.
Monstro when they're under the water. I can't do it without. You know how they did that? They recorded while talking into a blowing fan,
Oh,
so it made
okay.
their
Well, that's
voices
neat to
shake.
know.
Yeah. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
all sorts of fun trivia about Pinocchio. That's my favorite. What's your favorite animated Disney film?
Oh, that was really hard for me because I have different categories as a mom and then as a grandma. Um, as a grandma, and I've watched this over and over and over again. And actually, I've caught my husband's actually popped it in several times, all on his own without the kids here, and that was Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
and it never gets old, the how the water sparkles, and just the sea life. And I find myself sitting there with my mouth open, just going, "Oh my goodness," because it's just so beautiful and peaceful and tranquil. And of course, the movie is just amazing, and I love, love, love to leave it on until it's completely over, because the trailers and the credits and all that, it's hilarious. Things that pop in. Then
They do like bloopers, right?
yeah. Uh-huh.
But they're not real. I mean, it's animation, so
Yes.
spoiler alert, they're not real
Ugh,
bloopers. They're
the little fish swimming.
simulated bloopers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. And then, of course, like you mentioned, Pinocchio and Bambi. I just loved Flower and Thumper. And then, as a mom, one of my daughter's favorites, and this was when there was no DVD; it was all VHS. So I'm shocked that this didn't get worn out. Was Fun and Fancy Free.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
with Mickey
she
and the Beanstalk and
yeah,
Bongo.
she loved it, and I loved it just as much.
That's one of the package films from the 1940s.
Yeah.
That was
It
actually released on my birthday.
was it really?
Well, not the year I was born, but the day I was born, September 27.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's one of
claim to
those
fame.
movies. There you go. I need to get another copy of that on DVD somehow someday.
I'm old, but not that old. I wasn't born the same year. I wasn't born in 1947, but I
No.
was.
No. Number 2. What is your favorite Disney theme park attraction?
All right, well, this is probably going to be controversial because it has its this attraction has its champions and it also has its enemies. But my favorite has to be It's a Small World.
Oh.
I just get
Oh.
so offended when people put down It's a Small World. I
I don't
think it's the
understand.
most Disney beautiful attraction that there is,
Mhm.
and I don't get tired of the song.
No, me either.
It doesn't I don't know why people say, "Oh, it sticks in your head." It doesn't stick in my head. I hear it when I'm on the ride, and when I'm not on the ride, I'm not
Mhm.
it doesn't stick in my head. And if it did, I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
because I love the
No.
song
Yeah.
and it has a great message. I wish more people loved It's a Small World. The world would be a better place.
I'd
But
have to agree.
I love Mary Blair's artwork. I love her
Oh.
designs and
Oh.
I just think
Yeah.
it's one of the most beautiful attractions, if not the most beautiful attraction Disney has ever made. And to me, it just feels like Walt. It just feels
Mhm.
like the one of the most Walt Disney attractions, like, that he had his hand in of
Yeah.
all the attractions in the park. I mean, there's a few like that. I mean, like, the Tiki Room makes me feel like that.
Yeah.
Pirates makes me feel like that. When I'm in Disney World, the Carousel of Progress makes me feel like
Oh.
that. But I hope I didn't name one of your favorites because 'cause I'm naming off all
Oh.
these attractions.
No, I like it when we have stuff like that in common. So,
So what's your favorite?
well, again, I've got different categories. Um,
It's hard to narrow
it's
it down.
it really is, and it's again, it's because of family. My personal was, if I is separating them from the ones that are related to my family, because I love all of these very much. But for me individually, aside from those, would be Splash Mountain and Star Tours.
Mhm.
I just I love water anyway, and so for Splash Mountain, to me, I love the music. It's just so cheery and happy, and the
Mhm.
feeling of being in the water. I love that aspect of it. I love that they took the animatronics from, oh, I can't
America
think of the thing.
Sings.
Yes, yes. Thank you. But yeah, it just it brings back those memories, and
Mhm.
it just when I get done with that ride, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much.
Aw.
I just love that. And then, of course, It's a Small World is among the top because my mother loved it so much. There's
Yeah, my
actually
mom
the
loves that one too.
oh, I just adored it. It was one of her favorites, and she has every time I pass her, I try to get a really good picture of her, and I would love to have they have the statues, the one that's laying down with her little hands on her head.
Mhm. Cleopatra, you mean?
Yeah, that was her favorite, and so, in fact, this was a couple years ago, when Fresh Big Disney was asking people, if there's anything that we could do, let us know. I'm like, if you guys ever get a chance to try and get a good picture of her, I'd really love that. And they did, and they sent it to me. And I thought, oh my goodness, that was so sweet. I finally had a decent picture of her. And Pirates is was my father's by far. He loved
Mhm.
that so much. And then um one final one that I'd like to mention is Casey Jr. because
Oh.
that you can enjoy that, but you can also enjoy a bit of storybook land. And it just
Mhm.
the magic of being on that train, you can just even though you're already feeling young at heart,
Mhm.
you can feel even younger.
Mhm. Best seat is the caboose facing backwards.
Oh, I
That
had don't remember ever doing that, and my husband and I did that, and it wasn't on purpose, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah, that's the best seat in the house.
Oh my goodness.
I will wait for the next train to get that seat.
It's worth it.
Mhm.
It really is. And what a treasure.
Yeah, that's a great one. In fact, that attraction just turned 61 years old. It opened on July 31st, 1955. It didn't quite make opening day.
Right.
It wasn't running on opening day, so they got it to operational by July 31st. I saw several posts on Facebook the other day saying that it was the 61st anniversary of Casey Jr., so it's funny that you mentioned that.
Amazing. Okay, well, the next question, what is your favorite Disney character?
Well, this one was just easy for me. Mickey Mouse, no question. He's the number one, he's the original, he's the
Uh-huh.
best. I think I always seem to lean towards the pie-eyed version of Mickey,
Oh, yeah.
like, the version from once the cartoon started being made in color, like, from the mid-30s up until, like, 1940, so, like, 1935 to 1940 Mickey is my favorite version of Mickey, closely followed by the 1950s Mickey from, like, the Mickey Mouse Club era.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because he had just kind of, like, a different type of a stylized look to him at that time
Mhm.
that he doesn't have, kind of a retro look, I guess back then it
Yeah,
wasn't retro, but looking back at it, it's kind of a more of a stylized retro Mickey than he is today.
it is.
But I love Mickey in all his incarnations. I'm just a Mickey fan at heart.
I am too. In fact, I have one of those hats. The last time we were there, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna get a hat. I haven't gotten a hat from Disneyland in a long time, and I had my heart set on mouse ears because and the people don't understand why or how, but I've never had my own mouse ears. And I thought, you know what? I don't get to go here often. I don't know when or if I'll ever get back again. I could always send for one off Disney.com. And I
Mhm.
saw this hat and it had the different Mickey throughout the years all around it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a baseball cap. I'm like, well, that I could wear anytime I wanted. So
Yeah.
that's the one I went ahead and got. And then, funny enough, just within the last, it was last month sometime, a sweet friend of mine, he didn't even know. He just wanted to send me some surprises from the park. And I opened the box and there were mouse ears.
Aw, that's
I
nice.
know. Oh, I cried. Huh,
I
but
haven't had a pair in several years, but I used to buy them when I went to the park, and I would wear them in the park. It just makes you feel extra Disney wearing
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. This was a difficult question for me because just like you, Mickey is always a top favorite. I see him and I just get all choked up in the park. It's just, oh, and of course, Minnie, Goofy. I mean, there's just something about each of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that has a special memory for me for a couple reasons is Jiminy Cricket.
Oh, okay.
Um,
We've brought him up a lot today.
yeah, when that song plays, um, it has to be him singing it. I Something just touches my heart so deeply, and it just gives me, I don't know, it just really grabs a hold of my heart, and um, I get emotional when I hear it. I just cannot help it. I just adore it. And then I had this memory also of, and I was a teenager back then. I was walking through the castle with my sister, and I don't recall ever having seen Jiminy Cricket at the parks.
Yeah. He's
And
rare to see.
oh yeah, and this was back probably 70s, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
He Here he comes from the carousel area through the castle,
Wow.
and I froze. And I'm a teenager, and I go mentally in my heart from a teenager to a 5-year-old in a heartbeat. And I feel myself welling up. I'm like, okay, 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 play it cool, calm down. Um, you know how you get when you're a teenager. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my stuff. I'm just going to lose it. And I just went up and I hugged him and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're my favorite. And I don't ever remember meeting you before. And I got the tightest hug and it was just so sweet. And that just, I'll never forget that moment. That was absolute magic for me.
Yeah. He's always been, I mean, even back then, he was a rare character to come across.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been one that's been out in the parks a lot.
Yeah.
So that was a lucky find back then, and it would
Oh,
be even luckier now because you would never see him now.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe in
Yeah.
the parades, but that's about it.
Yeah. I am
Yeah,
hoping that someday they'll bring back those little meats like they would bring out the ones that you don't see very often and have that
yeah.
brought back once again. Because I sure would love to do a picture with him. There's at least one. I don't think I have one. I have to go back and scroll through all the photo albums, but, yeah, just every once in a while, if I'm having a difficult time or like, "I don't know if I can do this," I just hear him go, "When you wish upon a star," I'm like, "Alright, I'm doing it. I'm not gonna give up hope," and it gets me through.
Well, he doesn't look anything like a real cricket.
No.
So
No.
maybe if he did, you wouldn't be as in love with him.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm one of those people because of Jiminy Cricket and just because of my nature anyway. If I find out that a cricket's gotten in the house, I will do everything to catch it and set it free. No harm.
Yeah, I would have a problem killing a cricket too.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't, or a grasshopper or any type of bug that's cute. I don't
Mhm.
have a problem killing a fly or a spider, but I would have a problem killing a cute bug like a cricket.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I'm so superficial.
Oh no,
It's all based
no.
on looks.
That's hilarious.
Speaking of bugs, what a great segue to our next question because you'll find out what my answer is.
There we go.
So the next one was
What is your favorite Disney song?
my favorite Disney song is The Ugly Bug Ball.
Oh my
How is that
goodness.
for a segue?
Wow, that worked out really well.
Well, I actually picked three, and one of them is The Ugly Bug Ball, which
Okay.
was sung by Burl Ives in
Oh,
Summer Magic. written
Oh,
by the Sherman Brothers.
yeah.
I love that song.
Oh my
The
goodness.
other song I picked is also a Sherman Brothers song, which I've already mentioned, Small World.
I don't know how people don't like that.
And then, of course, I had to pick Zippity Doo Dah
Oh, good one.
because that song makes me happy.
Doesn't it?
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
How
well,
about
I
you?
I had a difficult time, but the first one that pops in my mind again, back to Jiminy Cricket's When You Wish Upon a Star.
Oh, well, of
I
course.
just
That's
and
a top
then
favorite.
for all the reasons, it's part of that magic. It gives you hope and
Hmm.
things are gonna be okay, which is, something that I try to pass on to people whenever I can.
Hmm.
And of course, Let's Go Fly a Kite,
Hmm.
which I it's become more of a love having been able to see Dick Van Dyke sing it within the recent year, having
Yeah.
turned, what did he turn, 90, bless his heart?
90.
And I was watching some videos that his wife and some friends had taken and passed around, and it's just, I mean, to add magic to something so magical, but he was able to do it, and I just became absolutely obsessed. So there's that one, and then the one that sticks out in my mind the most, and I just happened to realize it because I change my cover photo on Facebook very often, different Disney pictures. I guess it would be um, Phantasmic.
Yeah.
It's
The theme song from Fantasmic.
Yeah, that would be one of them. And I have this thing where I just
Imagination.
oh, yeah.
Dream a fantastic dream.
It's
That's
just
a good
it's just
song.
so oh, speaking of music, a song, are you kidding me? Main Street Electrical Parade.
Yeah, the Baroque Hoedown.
That one, yes. That
Yeah.
is among the top. I adore that. I could play that all day long.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite live action movie, Dawn?
Uh, this wasn't easy either. I went and actually had to look up a list because I could not think of but a handful. And then once I realized how many there were, I'm like, oh. But then I it made it easier. Mary Poppins.
That's mine too.
Is it?
Hmm. In fact, Mary Poppins is my all-time favorite movie of any genre of all
Wow.
time. I mean, Disney or otherwise. That's just my favorite movie ever. What can you say about it that hasn't already been said? It's a
Yeah,
fantastic movie.
it really is. I didn't remember. I knew that I had seen it when I was younger, but I couldn't remember a whole lot about it. And I watched it right around Dick Van Dyke's birthday on purpose. And I thought, oh, I remember this and I remember that. And I thought, what is wrong that I have not been watching this more often throughout the years? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, oh, what a treasure.
I had it memorized when I was a kid because they showed it on HBO
Mm-hmm.
and I watched it like every single time it broadcast and we recorded it and I just watched it like on a loop all day, every day
Oh,
when I was
wow.
a kid. And then I would mouth along to the words. I mean, I knew the
Oh,
whole movie by heart.
oh my
It
goodness.
was my favorite and it still
Oh,
is.
it's unbelievable. Well, we got a new set of questions here.
Yeah, those were my questions that I asked, and now the next 5 are the questions Dawn asked. So, what's the next one?
Uh, I am often asked these questions here, so I figured I would run them by you as well. What are your favorite Disney foods?
It's a toss up between 2 different ones. Of course, Dole Whips
Mhm.
are there, but another one that I love are New Orleans fritters, which are served in New Orleans at Disneyland, New Orleans Square.
Uh-huh.
Um, now they have apple fritters, but back in the day they just had plain ones.
Yes.
and they were so good. And now they have like little ones they taste the same, but they used to have like one big giant one, and you just would get one big fritter. But now you
Oh.
get like
Mhm.
a little basket of like 6 of them.
Yeah. Yep,
But
that's what they were like last time I got them. There was a basket of
yeah, they
7.
taste the same, thank goodness. But I remember
Yeah.
when they were big, giant, you just got one big fritter. And they're so good. It's
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
like a churro, but a little more creamy,
Mhm.
and it's all air on
So
the inside. It's just like a big
s
puffed up ball of fattening deliciousness.
so yummy.
Yeah. How about you? What are your favorite Disney foods?
Of course, the Dole Whip, and I like just the soft serve. No,
Mhm.
extra pineapple juice or anything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I love the churros. I love, the burgers at Hungry Bear. I just love that atmosphere. That was one of my
Mhm.
parents' favorite places to eat,
Mhm.
and, you can't beat your surroundings.
Yeah,
You
right
just
on the
can't.
river.
Yeah. And then, of course, the fritters you mentioned, and then, that chicken dinner,
Plaza Inn.
the Plaza Inn, yeah,
Mhm.
we used to get that as a family, and I just remember how amazing that was.
One kinda strange thing that I really love, because I actually worked at the Plaza Inn
Oh,
as a dishwasher when I was 16.
oh,
But one thing I remember the smell of, and I love the taste of, their ranch dressing at the Plaza Inn. They have the absolute best ranch salad dressing I've ever tasted in my whole life. I don't know what their secret is,
really?
but if you ever go to the Plaza Inn, get a salad as a side dish and
Okay.
get the ranch dressing, because their ranch dressing is unbelievable.
I'm gonna have to make sure I do that because ranch dressing is my favorite.
Yeah, and theirs is really special.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, that's a goal. That's definitely a new goal. And the next question was, what are your favorite Disney souvenirs? Like,
This was hard for me.
yeah, me too.
Um, well, probably every time I go to a Disney park, I buy some sort of a Mickey Mouse figurine.
Oh, nice.
So I have several of them throughout my apartment. So that's probably my favorite. I also they don't really make them anymore, but I used to really love to buy the big giant map of the
Yeah.
park. And then they used to have the souvenir, photo book that you could buy. It was
Mhm.
like a paperback book that you could buy that had pictures of the whole park. I used to buy one of those every time I went when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They don't make those anymore. I
No.
guess everybody can take all the pictures they want now with digital cameras that's kind of become obsolete. But yeah, definitely those are 3. 2 of them are extinct souvenirs, but
That's what makes them the more special.
how about you?
Well, when I was younger, it would be, what yeah, I would love to get, a plush, a stuffed animal,
Mhm.
and, I, uh one of the things that I remember having that I really wish I had, I love this thing. It was a Cinderella slipper, but it zipped up, so it was a change purse,
Oh,
and I loved that thing, and, that was pretty much it. I loved my stuffed animals, but now, I like, I have this new thing where I don't have a whole lot, but I wanna get more, Disney baseball caps.
uh-huh.
I
I've seen a couple pictures of you wearing them. You have
Yeah,
a dopey one.
I love
Yeah.
that thing so much. Yeah, um, like, you could use them out here absolutely with all I live in Nevada, so
Yeah.
it's a good thing to have, but I could wear them anywhere, it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I love pins and I love the buttons,
Yeah.
so those are something that
I have a few of them too.
when I go, I'll get 1. If I've got enough, I'll get 3. Um, and then I save coins so that I can get I only have one, but I've figured out, you know what, that would be if I can't save up enough money for different souvenirs, I keep all my coins.
Yeah.
And that way I already have what I need for the pressed coins.
Yeah, I have a few of
So
all those things too. I just kind of, have a few here and there. I wouldn't say I'm a collector of them, but I do have a few pressed pennies. I have some really old pins from the 35th anniversary of Disneyland
oh, wow.
that they handed out as you went in at the gift giver extraordinaire. Remember that?
Oh my goodness.
Remember that? And then yeah, I have a few plush, and yeah, I have all those things too, but probably the thing that I would, if I went to Disneyland today, the thing I would probably look for would be a Mickey Mouse figurine of some kind to commemorate the trip, something that had the
Mhm.
60th anniversary on it or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I would do. I got well, one of the things that I got was a pin that actually had that year on it because I think
Mhm.
that's important. And then like you mentioned the books. I
Yeah.
love the Disneyland books, whether it's a souvenir pictorial or something like I actually have one and I love the older books, the former library books and all that.
Mhm.
I actually have one that's, The Secrets of Disney's Glorious Gardens,
Oh, wow.
and so I've got quite a variety,
Yeah, I
uh,
have a lot of those books too.
and they're treasures to me. They really
Yeah.
are.
Which brings us to our next question, which is kind of related. What Disney do you collect?
Yeah, now for me, the stuff that I collect is a little bit different because like you, I'm in a different state. It would
Yeah.
be kind of different because I could get these off of, Disney.com or even eBay with the secondhand books.
Mhm.
So my collecting items are kind of different than what I would go and purchase at the parks.
Yeah.
And
So what kind of secondhand books do you collect? Like the little golden books or
no, I haven't done those yet, but I've got like I said, the books that are um the souvenir pictorials.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are favorites. I have some that are, like this is a itty bitty book, but it's a Disney poster, the animated film classics, and
Mm,
it's got all of those older pictures, Barnyard Olympics,
yeah.
Mickey's Review, things like that. It's just filled with all of them, and it goes from Mickey to Donald, Sleeping Beauty, Goofy. It's just got a ton of them in there. So I have a wide variety of them.
So kind of like a combination you collected between coffee table books and just kind of like conversational picture book type
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
anything that I can get my hands on. And then I also have been lucky enough to where people have sent me a couple friends. They had a bunch of 45s.
Mhm.
And then they had the back in the day when you have the record that you would play with the book to follow along.
Mhm.
And I've got a
The
bunch of
see
those.
hear read with
Uh-huh.
Tinkerbell when Tinkerbell
Yes.
rings her little bell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have a whole bunch of those, and those are my treasures.
Yeah, I collect vintage movie posters. Um
Oh.
when I worked at Walt Disney World, they had a shop there called Sid Koinga's One of a Kind, and they sold all these like authentic lobby posters.
Oh my
Like they're
goodness.
huge. I have a lot of huge ones that I framed. One of them I have is It's Tough to Be a Bird from the 1969 short subject, and then I have a symposium on popular songs with Ludwig von Drake,
Whoa.
and yeah, a few others that are buried away and I don't hang up because I want to keep them nice.
Yeah.
I also collect vinyl, of course, record albums, aka vinyl, and anything Mickey Mouse, like I mentioned before. I have Mickey everywhere in my apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I love that because if you look around everywhere you look, each room will have a piece of something that just makes you so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole apartment is basically decorated in Disney. So
That is
everywhere you look, it's Disney. So you asked me a good question. If you could bring back an extinct attraction, which attraction would it be?
Yeah.
And that was easy for me.
Oh, okay.
America Sings.
Wasn't that amazing?
Yes, that was my all-time favorite attraction. If it was still there, I would not have picked It's a Small World as my favorite attraction. I would have picked
Oh.
America Sings because that's how much I loved it. It was my absolute favorite, and I miss it so much. I've mentioned that many times on my other podcasts. As a matter of fact, Jiminy Crickets. We had like a patriotic episode a few weeks ago for the 4th of
Uh-huh.
July, and I talked all about how much I loved America Sings. So, yeah, that was my all-time favorite with Burl Ives and
Ugh.
as Uncle Sam, and it took you on a journey through all the different eras of American music and all the wonderful music, and it was just a
Mhm.
great attraction, and I really missed that one. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I had to think about it for a while because one of my favorites, aside from the Carousel of Progress back then, was the People Mover.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know if it's a weird reason or not, because in my Carousel of Progress still exists just across the other side of the United States.
Mhm.
And People Mover does too, but um,
It's kind of a
it's
different version
it
of People Mover.
really is. And so
Yeah,
my choice would be the People Mover for sure.
yeah. They still have the track there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
someday they'll bring it back.
Oh, I wish they could. They'd have to tear it all down though, unfortunately. If
Yeah,
I did some research into
yeah,
it because I was like, why? Well, what had they not changed it to put the rocket rods, was it called, in there?
yeah. Mhm.
They could have grandfathered it back in.
Exactly. But now because of the laws have changed,
Mhm.
and also that track is rotted away, and they would
Yeah.
even if they brought back the exact same attraction, they'd still have to tear it all down and rebuild it from scratch
Mhm.
because that track has just been decaying for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always hope that that's one of the things that they'll do eventually, and even if they make it different, I'm okay with that.
If they brought back a version that was like the Walt Disney World version,
Uh-huh.
where it's inside like tunnels like it is,
Yeah.
then they could bring it back because then it would comply with the rules, the
Yeah.
laws. So, I mean, it could be done if they wanted to, but right now they're busy working on Star Wars and
Yeah. Yeah.
Marvel Land and all
They
these
got a
other
lot on
things.
their plate.
So it'll be a while before Tomorrowland gets touched.
Yeah.
So, but maybe someday,
Maybe. Never know. I
with a
don't give up.
little faith and hope and pixie dust.
That's it.
So, the last question you asked me,
One more.
you asked the question.
Sure. Do you have a must do when you go? When you go to Disneyland? Something that just one thing that you just have to do?
Yes. When I first arrive in the park, before I do anything else, I have to get on the train and do a round trip
Oh.
from Main Street all the way around through the Primeval World and back to Main Street again.
Mm,
Before I do any other attractions, I have to do a round trip on the Disneyland Railroad every time.
that is a good one.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I really do. I have this thing for trains anyway, but that one's just extra special. Well, I like yours. Mine, doesn't really involve, an attraction of any kind. When I get in, it takes me a little bit to gather myself because I don't get to go as much as I used to. And as an adult now, I like to go in and just before you hit actual Main Street, just in that little center area there, I like to just turn around and look back towards the entrance, and of course I want to focus on the apartment above the fire station and just take a minute to honor Walt and to thank him for endlessly inspiring me all these years, especially now. And then I just turn around and I just soak up everything that's around me. There's usually a character right there. Typically Minnie, the last couple times that we were there.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, it was 2010 and then 2013. Both those times Minnie was right there. And
Oh,
I purposely really wanted to get there before rope drop and hear that announcement. And so we were in there, and my husband, of course, we're headed towards the apartment of the fire station, and he was in there looking around. I took some pictures of us on, or him on there, and then the gate opened and out came all the vehicles.
wow.
Oh my goodness.
A little touring tip for everybody. I don't know if it's changed since the last time I went to Disneyland, but if you get there when they open Main Street a half hour early, they will let you ride on a round trip nonstop excursion on the Disneyland Railroad before the park opens.
Oh,
So you can get in an attraction before the rest of Disneyland opens. And then by the time you get back to the beginning of the route, the Grand Circle, you're still in time to go get in line for rope drop. So if you get there really, really early and you get on the train right away, you can do a round trip on the train and then be back in time for rope drop. So a little touring tip for everybody, but not until 2017 because the train's not open until then.
yeah. 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 They just made that announcement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really exciting. Well, everyone, we want to thank you so much for listening to Magical Day Radio. And thank you for helping me welcome my new co host and friend, Chris Lyndon. Make sure that you guys stop by his website because it's unbelievable. Chris, did you want to mention how they can find that real quick?
Yeah, you can find my website at disneychris.com. It's the home of the magical Disneyland audio tour. And then you can also find me on Twitter at DisneyChris73. You can find me on Facebook under the name Chris Lyndon, Lyndon. And you could find my other podcast, which is Jiminy Crickets, at jiminycrickets.blogspot.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And as far as Magical Day Radio is concerned, you can find us on Facebook. There's a show page. It's just simply look up Magical Day Radio, and it'll be right there for you guys. Give it a like for us. And our archived shows are going to be on my YouTube channel. You can simply search Dawn Short and it'll pop up. And we will always have links to those on the Magical Day Radio show page. So we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to that channel as well, because that helps us also.
And if you follow Dawn or me on Twitter, we'll post those links to the videos as well on Twitter.
Absolutely. And again, I'm under the same name. It's Dawn _short because somebody already had that name, which that happens. So
Yeah.
But anyway, as always, we want to thank you. Please join us again next time. We'll have some amazing guests lined up for you guys. But thanks for joining us on our Meet the Host show. And I had a great time, and I hope you guys did too. And as always, on behalf of Chris and myself, we hope you have a magical day. Good night, everybody.
This has been Magical Day Radio with your hosts, Dawn Short and Chris Lyndon. This was a Dragus production syndication. Magical Day Radio was created by host, public relations, and social media director Dawn Short. Designs, websites, and sounds created by host and graphic design producer Chris Lyndon. Magical Day Radio is not associated with the Walt Disney Company, its affiliates, or subsidiaries. All copyrighted media is used under journalistic fair use for commentary and educational purposes only. Please join us on Facebook at Magical Day Radio. Thanks for listening and have a magical day.